Hello, Representative Susan Herrera. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon with everything going on as we were just speaking about.
It's my pleasure. I've been with True Kids for many years. They've been interviewing me really ever since they started.
Well, that's so fun. You get to see the progression then.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. It is a lot fancier than it used to be. It used to be just a mic in front of a building somewhere.
Yeah,
with one camera. Yeah, it stepped up a lot.
So one other thing that we were curious about is just that, for these races, there is no candidate from the opposite party. Voters who identify as Republican may have more of a difficult time directing the outcome of the election. So what is your view on the primary system with that in mind?
That's a great question. I tell you, a lot of people want to change the primary system. I don't. I think this country has run for a long time with two parties. The problem is really not the Democratic Party, it's the Republican Party now. You have a Republican Party in chaos, really. And you have one fringe element of the Republican Party running all the party. So it's the first time in history, really, that we've kind of had this situation where really kind of a minority group in one party is setting the agenda for the whole party and kind of making their positions known, and people are afraid to speak out. I really don't understand it. But I've always been a Democrat. I can tell you that. I'm a Democrat to the marrow of my bones. I believe in this party. I think this party has been what has brought people really the best life and the best democracy. We did Social Security. We did minimum wage. We did every progress, health, health insurance. I mean, everything that this party stands for has been really what has made this country great. So I have no problem just running against a Democrat in a primary, and I'm not really too upset that I have an opponent. I'm going to tell you, what makes a strong party is a constant battle for the soul of the party. That is not a bad thing to have happen. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid of it. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm going to win, but you never know, and you don't know until it's over. But I would never say, oh gosh, it's terrible if you have an opponent. I think it makes you stronger, and I think I'm running harder because I have an opponent, and I'm looking forward. To voting day.
Definitely. Well, because you are in support of the primary system, what is your reasoning behind that when it does come down to, Republican voters maybe not having so much or any say at all?
Well, the truth is, Rio Arriba, which is most of my district, and Taos, I don't know the statistics, but it's probably the same. It's about 80% Democratic. So 80% of the voters in my area just happen to go with the Democratic Party. That's really kind of how it is. If more people wanted to become Republicans, I guess we would have a more even race. I'm fine with the way it goes. There are some races, especially in Albuquerque, where it's pretty even, where you have even systems. You can vote for the party of your choice now on election day. I mean, that's a huge bill that's come up. So you can register as either a Republican or a Democrat and vote for a primary. I think it makes more sense to have a two-party system, but you will get different answers from different people, and you know what? It's a democracy, and we're all entitled to our opinion.
That is true. I'm very glad about that. So as we just spoke about, your opponent is from the same party as you, and obviously you don't have the same ideas on everything, but some voters may find it difficult just to differentiate. So what are some major differences in your campaigns between you and your opponent?
Well, I think a major difference is I'm I'm very much against gun violence. So I've worked very hard to vote on issues that really protect citizens from gun violence. That's really what I've been voting on. I think that's really kind of the big difference between us. He supports, well, no, there's a few more. He says that I'm anti-gun. I'm not anti-gun. My family is a hunting family. You know, they draw for the elk every year. If they get it, everybody gets excited. They all get ready for it. So, you know, we're a family that, you know, we have guns in our home. They're locked. They're safe, but we do hunting. We do hunting as a family. Do I think you need an assault weapon to kill an elk? No. Or to kill a deer? No. Look at what just happened in Buffalo. It's just another example. How many examples do we need before we understand that we need to eliminate assault weapons in this nation? Really? How many more deaths have to take place before we eliminate assault weapons in this country? Really? Another issue that we really differ on is oil and gas. He's raised $18,000. $15,000 of that have been by three major donors of $5,000 each. All oil and gas, all Republican. I mean, I don't know. I would not call him a Democrat. I would call him a leaning Republican. And, you know, he thinks we have to thread a very careful needle in this state. We are reliant on oil and gas right now. We are moving to solar. We are moving to renewable energy. And Taos is the lead. Kit Carson is the lead in this, not only in the state and the nation. I mean, they were going to be at, 100% full-time, daytime solar in 2025, and they're going to be there in June of 2022. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary, the leadership that has come from Taos for renewable energy, in particular solar energy in this state. So all eyes are on Kit Carson, all eyes are on Taos watching that. And I think we differ in that respect too.
Yeah, definitely some major differences for people to keep in mind in that case. Obviously, as we are True Kids 1, we are focused on the youth, and I and my fellow interviewer doing the other pieces of the Democracy Project are now of voting age. So what are some things that youth like us may find important in your campaign? What might encourage us to vote for you?
Well, I was named chair of something called the Rural Development, Land Grant, and Cultural Affairs Committee, okay? So what we do in that committee is my district is mostly rural. So I take a hard look at rural policies that impact not only kids, but everybody who resides in this district. So we have a lot of conversations about rural schools. I'm kind of one of the leaders on the education committee and on the LESC, which is called the Legislative Education Study Committee. That's the interim committee that sets the policy for education in this state. And obviously, I serve on a lot of committees, but I really look at rural development. I think you want to vote for me because I've been a leader in education. I've been a leader in rural issues in the North. And you know, I try to take local problems, fix them, you know, take it to the legislature, pass a bill, and get it solved. So that's really what we all try to do. Is it easy? No. One of my big accomplishments this year was that I ended predatory lending as we know it. For those of you who don't know, and now that you're getting old enough, don't take out those loans. Predatory loans were at 175%. I reduced that amount beginning January of next year. You can't get a loan for more than a 36% interest rate. So if you take out a small loan of $5,000, it's now down to 36. People will say 36 is too high, and they're right. Why 36? 36 is tied to the Military Lending Act, which was passed in 2008 to protect young men and women in the armed services because they were taking out all these loans and then they couldn't be deployed. So the Department of Defense did a year-long study. They took it to Congress. It was signed into law in 2008 and signed by President George Bush. There's a lot of money behind predatory lending because they make a lot of money. So you have to be really careful. So I think I'm progressive in nature at the legislature. If that's the kind of representative you want, then you want to vote for me.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything else that you would like us just to know in general before we wrap up?
Yeah, I want to talk to all you 18-year-olds out there who are voting for the first time. Really take this seriously. Consider it an honor. Boy, there's so many people in the world that would love to have what you have. The ability to vote in a free election. And it's becoming harder and harder in this country. That's why this election is so important. I mean, New Mexico is a blue state, so you guys are getting the advantage of Democratic leadership. But boy, if you lived in Georgia or Texas, it's a different story. It's a different story. So get out there, exercise your vote. Vote June 7th. You can do early voting anytime now. Just go to the voting place in Taos, and I'm sure you know that voting place, right? I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's at the county courthouse. So go over there, and they have early voting all set up. You can go from probably 9 to 5 every day, and get over there and vote. Go with a friend, and then go out and celebrate your first vote, because it really is something to celebrate.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Good to be here.